Hello, this is SJ. Hit that subscribe button, please and thank you. Netflix is doing a documentary. They're doing a documentary on the Freak Nick documentary. I guess I don't know if they still have that, but back in the '90s, that was real popular. Down in Atlanta, and maybe some other cities. I guess it was a thing for college students. Black college students would um, gather in this festival. In this festival, they called it the Freaknik in Atlanta. It was pretty popular back in the '90s, and a lot of black people would go down there and turn up. uh, and that's the perfect word to use for a turn up. They would go down there and they would turn up, and the women, Lord, women, the black women and the black men was turning up, and black men and women were doing. Of course, it's going to be more detrimental on the women. It's going to look more bad for the women than the men. You know how that goes, that double standard. Um, but women were doing, young ladies at the time were doing some things that they probably shouldn't have been doing. But sometimes when we are young, because I'm gonna throw me in there too. When we are young, we're young. Sometimes when we're young, we do things that when we'll look back at now and be like, "Ooh, I shouldn't have. Ooh, I did that. Wow." So it's a couple of black ladies that are suing Hulu. Um, I don't know if they're gonna try to do a cease and desist or something like that, because the documentary hasn't come out yet. I guess it's going to be coming out next year, because this black lady, one black lady in particular, she's a lawyer now. She's married. She's got kids, and she's on the up and up. And she when this documentary is being showed, she doesn't want to be seen in this documentary, because she's afraid that it's going to mess up her reputation. She's afraid that it's going to cause problems on her job, because she's a lawyer now. So she's afraid that it's going to cause problems on her job if she's seen in this documentary. First of all, this is 30, wasn't this 90s or 30 years ago? She may not, then people may not recognize her. She might look different. I'm sure she looks different than she did 30 years ago, um but this is what her concern is, that it's going to cause problems in her job. She doesn't want to lose her job. First of all, why would an employer fire you over something that you did in your past? I can understand if you did it now, but why would they fire you over something you did 30 years ago? That doesn't make sense. Um, but yeah, that's what her concern is. So she's trying to sue Netflix and tell them, Hulu, and tell them, no, I don't want this, because she's afraid if they see her in it, then it may cause problems on her job, and she may not even be in it. So that's a lot of things. Back then, when this Freaknik thing happened, um, there was no social media. There was no Netflix. There was no Hulu. There was no YouTube. There was no Instagram, no Facebook, no TikTok, no nothing. There was no social media. There was no nobody really owned a computer back then. I mean, if they did, it was basic stuff. It wasn't, there was literally no social media back then. I mean, no social media. And none whatsoever. So all this was done before social media. I mean, I don't think they knew that. I think if they knew that later on that this was going to be shown amongst millions of people for the world to see, that they probably would have thought twice before they went down and turned up. But yeah, I think that's kind of messed up too. That but see, Hulu, these streaming services, all they care about is making money. They really don't care. They don't care if they exploit people. All they care about is making money. They're looking at the money. They're looking at the bottom line. That's all they care about. They don't care whether they exploit it, especially black people. They don't care whether they exploit black people or not. All they're looking at is the money. That's all they care about. So you know, that's kind of messed up. Something that they did a long time ago is going to now be shown amongst millions and millions of people. Because if they go and do that, young people know if they do those things now, they know that they're going into it, knowing that okay, there's social media, that you can be possibly put on social media. So the young people do that now, they're going into it knowing that. But back then, there was no social media. There was literally no social media. So they did this at a time where, they probably didn't think that this was going to be shown for the whole world to see. Who would have known that back then? Unless you could predict the future. There's no way you would know that, I'm sure if they knew that, they would have thought twice before they done that, what I'm saying? But, folks do things when they're young. When, we all do things when we're young that now we'll probably look back, now that we're older, and we'll look back and say, I did all my dirt before there was social media and undercover. And I wasn't at no Freaknik. I ain't go to no Freaknik. And in the early 90s, I was being a good mommy and taking care of my son. That's the story I'm sticking with. That's what I was doing in the early 90s. I was being a good mommy taking care of my son. But I wasn't at no Freaknik. I wasn't at no Freaknik. So they ain't gonna be showing me on no documentary turning up, shaking, twerking, and doing this and that and the other. And they ain't gonna have me on it. You ain't gonna see me. You ain't gonna see Sweet June on it. You ain't gonna see me on it. You look all you want. You ain't gonna see me at no Freaknik. So, I feel bad for the people that did get involved in it. And now this might possibly be shown for millions of people to see all over the world or whatever. I do feel bad in a sense. That's kind of messed up, because it was at a time before all this social media and these streaming services even existed. So let me know what your thoughts are. On this Freaknik thing. Do you think that Hulu should even put this documentary out, or do you think that it's not fair to people that was in this thing? Is it invasion of privacy or whatever like that? Hulu gonna make money regardless. They all about making money. They don't care. So yeah. So let me know what your thoughts are on that Freaknik, and let me know if you was in it. Was you in that Freaknik? I promise I won't tell anybody. Or somebody that was in it back then. There was a lot of people that was involved in that back then. It was a lot of it was some celebrities that was in it too. I seen some pictures of celebrities that they wasn't that famous back then, you know. But it was some celebrities that was involved in that too, some rappers, and yeah, it was quite a few black people. It was a real popular thing back in the day. You know, this was I remember hearing about it. I remember hearing about it. You know, vaguely remember hearing about it. But yeah, let me know if you know somebody. If you know, might not want to put your business out there like that, but yeah. Or if you heard about it, what are your thoughts on it? Either way, what are your thoughts? Okay, until the next video.